Good morning and hello. Yeah. All right. Is everybody doing well today? So, y'all notice I'm lingering because I can't get, I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Wh- yes, absolutely. And it's so hard to express your gratitude or something when you're like this. When you can be here and stand up and do this, it is such an honor, because a week ago I couldn't hardly get out of the bed. UTIs are horrible, especially for me. And people say, well, you got to do this and you got to do that. No, you don't. I'm just telling you right up front. It's hereditary, and I'm going to have them. My mother had them. My sisters had them. I have them. And there's not much you can do about it. All you can do is go to the doctor and I'm sorry, Jeff's counting people back there. And I noticed he had his shoes off too while he was counting. So anyway, but it just happens, and you don't know when it's going to happen. It just happens. And it sure makes you appreciate when you're okay, especially this time of the year. This is my favorite month of the year, October. It's when the humidity goes down, temperatures go down some, the colors, the fall colors starts to happen. People start acting nicer. You're tired of the heat and everything. Now, my wife, she's just the opposite. She loves April, and because she says that's when things starts to grow, and that's wonderful too. April and October, our favorite time of the year. But I just want to let you know it's an honor to be here. It is an honor to stand here and speak to you, especially about Jesus. I'm sorry, those two guys back there are bothering me. No, they evidently called each other to decide what they were going to wear today, because they got identical outfits on, and believe it or not, those two are supposed to be our prayer deacons of the month. And my wife can't get things straight. She had Jim down instead of Jeff Crocker. But it's these two right here. They're the culprits. No. Jeff and I have an ordeal today right after church, don't we, Jeff?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We, the Cockerel reunion is over there. And I hang around Jeff a lot over there because I don't know who these people are. And then he tells me that he don't know who some of these people are. But, hey, how would you know? You ever thought about that, a family reunion? You got people coming in. How do you know they're part of the family? Because we don't know everybody.
Only one I need to know is who brought the picture.
Yeah. Susan sent you a picture, I believe. Well, your family, yeah, family is family. We're all family. We can go over there. So I see no problem. Anyway, today's lesson is strange. To me, it's just strange. And it could be because I haven't done this in a couple of weeks, and I'm strange, so it goes right along with it, doesn't it, Davis? Fits right in. We're in Genesis. And who's Joseph? Who is this dude? We need to know who Joseph is, don't we? We need to know the background of this before we can understand what is going on here. We need to know exactly what is happening. First off, there's this dude, and his name is Joseph. So anybody will take a crack who Joseph is? Yes, we're talking about that Joseph, the Josephs of many colors that his brothers sold into slavery because they were jealous of him. They were so jealous of him that they tried to kill him, and then they decided, hey, wait a minute, we get more money out of him if we sell him into slavery to the Egyptians. And that's what they did. And so when he was 17 years old, whammo, he was gone. See, his father favored him. His father actually had made him a coat of many colors. So, but Joseph, it was not an easy path for him. When he got to Egypt as a slave, he had to do this, that, and the other, and he wound up in prison a couple of times. Well, he did become something like a prime minister. Have you shot anybody? Okay. Okay, it'll be good. So, this is not that. This is me pushing down on it. But Joseph, the story behind this is when Joseph was in prison, he was working in the bakery or something like that, and there was two gentlemen in prison. One was the chief butler, and one was the chief cook. And somehow both of them had wound up in prison. And they both had dreams that were weird. Joseph could interpret dreams. He could do a really good job at that. The butler had a dream, and I won't go into a lot of detail, but Joseph said, well, in 3 days you will be pardoned. You will be given back your position as a chief butler. The cook, he looked at the cook and he said, you're going to hang in 3 days, basically. That was great news, wasn't it? Well, both of those dreams or interpretations came to fruition. That happened. Well, the chief butler kind of forgot about Joseph because he became chief butler again. He had his duties and everything. And then the Pharaoh, 2 years later, the Pharaoh had a strange dream. And he called all the magicians and the wise men and all those people in to interpret the dreams, and they didn't have a clue. They did not have a clue as what those dreams meant. Okay? So then the chief butler went, boom, there's a guy in prison who can interpret dreams. He surely interpreted mine. The Pharaoh said, go get him. And that guy's name was Joseph. Joseph was 30 years old at this time. So they call Joseph, and Joseph comes in. But I want to read you in the Bible exactly what the Pharaoh is saying to Joseph about his dreams. Because when we get over to here, he's already interpreting the dreams, but we need to know exactly how it went. So we start in verse 17. Verse 17 of chapter 41, it says, and Pharaoh said unto Joseph, in my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river, and behold, there came out of the river 7 kine. A kine is a cow. It's a cow. 7 kine, fat-fleshed and well-favored, and they fed in a meadow. I mean, these cows were looking good. These were good-looking cows. They were just perfect. I mean, they were perfect. They weren't starved. They had a lot of food, and they came right out of the river. Okay? And behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and very ill-favored and lean-fleshed, such as I never saw in all the land of Egypt for badness. And the lean and ill-favored kine did eat up the first fat kine. So the lean ones ate the fat ones. Okay? And when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they were eating them, but they were still ill-favored at the beginning, as at the beginning, so I awoke. And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears came up, one stalk full of good. Now, they're trying to say in here that this was an ear of wheat. You ever heard of an ear of wheat? I hadn't either. I heard ears of corn, but I ain't never heard of no ear of wheat. Yeah, head. There's the stalk, the head, the little stuff is in there, the kernel, all that, you know. Kernels. Well, it does. It must have somewhere along the line. But anyway, what they're talking about here is wheat. Okay. And behold, 7 ears withered, thin, and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. So we had 7 ears of wheat, nice, pretty, and all that come up. And then you had 7 ears that looked like they'd been through a drought. Bad. I mean, they were terrible. They come up. Blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears. And I told this unto the magicians, and there was none that could declare it to me. They didn't know. They had no idea of what was going on. So this is what the Pharaoh has told Joseph. Now, it's time for Joseph to tell Pharaoh what all this means. Okay? And the Pharaoh is definitely going to listen because there's no one else. There's absolutely no one else except this prisoner. This prisoner, okay? So we start in verse 25. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. God has shown the Pharaoh what God is about to do. Now, God can work in mysterious ways, can't he? He can take forever to do something, or he can do it in the blink of an eye. Most of the time when God does something, it's not instantly, but it can be. Most of the time, he gives people a chance to turn around, a chance to become a reborn Christian. This is a very sore subject. Why do I say that? Well, I was reading in Google. Google knows everything. I mean, they got it going. They got AI now, whatever that means. Artificial intelligence. That's the same thing as politicians. It is. 10 years ago, 74% of Americans identified as religious. Okay? Today, 62% identify as religious. That's how big of a swing we've had in just 10 years, or maybe even 7 years or whatever. There will be 15,000 churches that will close up between now and the end of the year. They never said how many is already closed up. But they're saying there could be 350,000 churches, wow, close up in the next 7 years. Because people are turning away. Is there something in Revelation about that? Yeah. About the turning away. Anybody who don't believe in the book of Revelation has got issues. People used to tell me, well, you got issues if you believe in Revelation. I'm here to tell you, you got issues if you don't believe in the book of Revelations. Because everything in that book is coming true. I mean, I'm telling you, and it's getting more frequent. Okay? But anyway, I forgot what I'm talking about here. That's not hard for me to do. But the churches, Do you know of any church that has closed its doors? I do. There's going to be more. There's going to be more because they cannot come up with enough financing, tithing, to keep the church open. So they just have to shut it down. And I'm not talking about little churches either. I'm talking about there's some fairly big churches that are closing down, merging with other churches. Why? Simply because they cannot afford. They don't have enough people, and I think a lot of time it's an attitude. It's an attitude that, hey, we're special. If you want to be part of us, you got to do exactly what we do. It's like some Mosaic laws or something. You can't continue to do that. Jesus didn't do that, did he? What rules, what was 2 commandments from Jesus? He only had 2. Love the Father, love your neighbor. Who is your neighbor? The one sitting beside of you. The one that you meet every day. They're your neighbors. And you got to love them. You got to be part of them. You got to help them. You got to show them what being a Christian is about, isn't it? If we can't show someone who we are, what are we doing? You can't just go to church and sit in a pew, your pew, for an hour and then go home and be part of the world. If you do that, what good is what good is being a Christian? Are you really a Christian then? I'm sorry to have to say this, but you know, when I was sick, when I was really, really sick, and I was having these weird dreams and stuff, I really had some in-depth thoughts about life, about a lot of things about life, and how messed up this world really is. How we are controlled by someone else. Politicians. That truly artificial intelligence. I don't think half of them have enough intelligence to wake up. Jesse Helms said it best. He said most politicians are educated beyond their intelligence level. And that's true. They have no common sense. They don't care about common sense. It's all about the dollar. And I'm sorry, I better get off of this. Brother Jeff, we have some company. I'm sure you want to welcome them then. Jeff's looking at him like, who are they? Okay, so anyway, we start again, and Jeff said unto Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. It's true. God has showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. God has shown Pharaoh what he's going to do. The 7 good kine or cows are 7 years. That's representing 7 years, okay? And 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one. In other words, for 7 years, you're going to flourish. The cattle, everything is going to flourish. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be marvelous. We're going to have the rains. We're going to have the weather. We're just going to have everything. The crops are going to grow. Everything's going to be wonderful. Totally wonderful for 7 years. We're going to flourish. Okay? And the 7 thin and ill-favored kind that came up after them are 7 years. And the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine. Ruh-roh. So for the next 7 years, things will be wonderful. And then for 7 years after that, famine. It's going to be hard to live. That's why those cattle are thin and they look bad, and that's why the crop, the ear of wheat or whatever it is going to look thin and weathered, and it's not going to be good. You have to understand that, Pharaoh. So what are we going to do about this? Pharaoh has to believe Joseph because he's the only one who could interpret this dream. And guess what? He was absolutely correct. So God has given Pharaoh time to get everything organized. He's given him time to get things in order for the famine, because the famine is coming in 7 years. Isn't it? Wouldn't you like to know what's going to happen in the next 7 years? Jeff says no. Yeah, Jeff says no. And he's right. But I'm afraid of what's going to happen in the next 7 years. How many of us are still going to be here? Yes, it is. Because we've lost people I would never, ever have thought of. I would never thought that we would have lost some of the people we have lost. I mean, to me, we live forever, don't we? I mean, that's the way I grew up. We live forever. We ain't got to worry about anything because we're going to live forever. No, we're not. Reality is going to set in, brothers and sisters. It really is. My wife and I went several years ago and had our wills done, our living wills and all that stuff. And we gave certain things in our will to certain people and this, that, and the other. And we went back to our financial advisor, and she raised a hissy fit. She said, that's the dumbest thing you can do. And I said, well, I'm known for doing dumb things, so it worked for me. But yeah, she said, that is not what you do. I said, well, it's too late now, honey. So anyway, but the fact of the matter is, you need to do something like that. And I hate to say evil, bad things can happen, but they will. You would not believe how many families that are in turmoil or become in turmoil after their parents die or something because they want it all. Each one of them wants it all. It's sad to see those things happen. And I know families like that. I really do. It's all about the dollar, isn't it? It's greed, kind of like our politicians. So anyway, this is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he showeth. He let Pharaoh know what's going to happen. When he let Pharaoh know what's going to happen, wouldn't you like to know, wouldn't you like to have been Pharaoh and to know would that make Pharaoh happy? I hope so. Absolutely. Now he knows he can prepare what's going to happen, can he? Okay? Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land. Ooh. And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of the famine following, for it shall be very grievous. Brothers and sisters, that is totally natural. That is totally natural. God can do great things for you, and he has. But let something bad happen in your life, and what happens? You forget all about the great things God have done for you. You're going to focus on that bad thing. And why did God let that happen? Why did God let my father die when I was so young? I have never, ever asked that question. Did you know that? That my baby sister Connie says that's the first question I'm going to ask is, why did God take our father at such an early age? And I said, that is not what I'm going to ask. Y'all know what I'm going to ask. Why do we have to have skeeters and gnats? Yes, why? What good are they? You know, and why do they love me so much? Yes, absolutely.
That don't even make me hungry, do
Oh, yeah. And for that dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice. He did dream it twice. It is because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. You can count on it. If God said it, it's going to happen. It's true. Now therefore let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Now this is Joseph telling the Pharaoh to do this. Let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Get someone to handle this. Get someone to come up with a plan. Get someone to make this happen. We've got to protect ourselves. Okay? Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years. Now it says the 5th part of the land. That is very controversial. Very controversial. Why do I say that? Well, because some people say the 5th part is we're going to take the grain. We're going to take 20% of the grain from all over Egypt, and we're going to put it in storehouses. And other people say, no. We're going to divide Egypt into 5 different regions, and then we're going to have a storehouse for each region. Who knows and who cares? The fact is, that's what happened. The fact is, it went on. And let them gather all the food of those good years have come, and lay up corn. Now it says corn. See? Ears of corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And that food shall be there to store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be the land of Egypt, and the land perish not through the famine. And I say in other words, we need to appoint someone. Pharaoh, you need to appoint someone who can make this happen. That, we store up enough in these 7 years that we don't have to perish in the next 7 years. Well, guess who Pharaoh anointed? Joseph. And his brother Benny said Joseph was like the prime minister. He anointed him to be second in command of Egypt. And that's what Joseph did. He did a great job at that. And after those 7 years, when all the countries started having famine, they would look toward Egypt for food. And so Pharaoh, guess what he would do? He would sell them food. And he become filthy rich off of that, off of a famine. But he also made sure that his people had food. So, what is the moral of this story? There's several morals of this story. One is, just because you're in a bad situation, that's not going to last forever. It is not going to last forever. It's only temporary. It's only temporary. Look at Joseph. This young man was sold into slavery, and he wound up saving his whole family, bringing them to Egypt. Brother and sister, that's how the Israelites wound up in Egypt. And of course, after the Pharaoh was gone and Joseph was gone and, some other things happened, guess what happened to the Israelites? They became slaves of Egypt for 400 years. Why do you think that happened? Well, it's because they didn't listen. They didn't listen to what God said. Do we listen to what God tells us? As Sister Diane said, not all of the time. Maybe a little bit every once in a while, If I don't have anything else to do, I'll listen to God. When I get bored, I'll just listen to God, right? No, that is not the way to get to heaven. I will tell you that right now. We must listen to God. We must do what God tells us to do. As Christians, we have to prove to the world who we are. How do we overcome this deficit that we're having in the world right now? How do we do that? By going out and showing others what a Christian really is. We got to love each and every one. I don't care who they are, what they are. It's not our decision to judge them. Do you get paid to judge people? I said that one day somewhere and there was a judge in there. Who would have thunk it? But we don't get paid to do that. That's not our job. When we disparage someone based on ethics or religion or race or whatever, what are we doing? We're showing God that we're not listening. We're showing God that we are not listening. And there's a lot of times God will say something and I don't, more fun to do it the other way, isn't it? So anyway, until it isn't fun anymore. And it will be not fun anymore. So I think the moral of this story is we need to show the world who we are. We need to be proud of who we are. Brother Roger brought up the little Jesus. How many did you say we've given out so far?
Over
2,000. When Susan and I went to the doctor and he prescribed some more antibiotics, we went over to Realo on Raleigh Road, Wilson, to get the prescription pulled up, and I looked for a little Jesus so Susan could. Well, when we pulled up, there was about 4 of them sitting right there on the counter. And a Bible and everything outside. So, we didn't give them one because they already had a bunch. But it was wonderful. It made you feel good, like you're accomplishing something. You're doing what Jesus wants you to do. Remember Jesus. Thank you so much for my rhetoric. Anyway, yes, sir.
Pharaoh had a woman,
Mm-hmm.
and he had 7 years to get ready for the famine. And how long did he say the famine lasted?
7 years.
7 years. How long does the book of Revelation say the tribulation is?
7 years. It's going to be split half and half.
So if we believe now that 7 years from now, the tribulation is going to start, what will we do to be ready?
Good question. What will we do if we knew the tribulation was going to start 7 years from now? What would you do? Yeah. What if we decided that it is going to happen 7 years from now? The tribulation is going to happen 7 years from now. What are we going to do? How are we going to prepare ourselves? First thing we're going to do is rejoice, aren't we? We're going to rejoice because we have a life after the tribulation. And before the tribulation starts, where are we going? Heaven. We don't have to wait for 3.5 years of tribulation to go to heaven. We're going before all this mess happens, right? Praise God. Praise the Lord. We have a life. We have eternal life in heaven with unspeakable joy. Do you know what? Think about that term, unspeakable joy. It is joy that we can't even fathom. It's joy that we can't even believe. It's going to be so good. How about, let's have it today. You know, we could have Jesus come back today if we had done our jobs and everybody on this earth was a Christian. Jesus would say, hey, come on, let's go home. You know, why? Because we don't need to wait any longer to see if there's anyone else who wants to go. You know, that's why the boat hadn't sailed, is because the captain's still trying to fill it up. And that's what we're doing. We're not doing our jobs. We're not getting out there and doing what we should be doing. I'm sorry, I did it again. Sorry. Well, never mind. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and one more question is, so do you think the scripture is all just about it? No. That's right, when you read it and thought, you think about it, everything start with, it's all about Egypt, you know. But when you just think about it, here